Hey, another week of the Johnny and Gene show. I'm Johnny Alite, and this is Gene Borrello.
What's up, everybody?
So today we're going to talk about some things that relate to the street and violence. And Gene, I guess you could kick it off with me.
Right. So, a lot of people always ask us questions and, constantly, there's a lot of people that talk and, give their stories and everything like that. But the difference with us is that we like to give facts and we give names and places and where it was done and anything particular. We like to keep it, to the facts. And when I was in the street, I did a lot of the violence myself. I had other guys. I had a really vicious, violent robbery team. We were labeled a bunch of violent thugs, whatever they call us on the internet. But I had a pretty violent team, and I was very violent myself. And a lot of the work that we did ourselves. Now, it's not about ordering or planning or who did it or what. It's always different when you're pulling the trigger. It's always different when you actually have to sit on the person. It's always different because unless you're there and you know that feeling about, the nerves, everything that kicks in when you're sitting on someone to shoot them or kill them or hurt them, whatever you're going to do. It's a lot different than being in the background and, sending someone to do it, which I feel anyone could do that. But, at the end of the day, you are still going to wear the same charge. The person sending you will still get the same time as the person doing it. But for me, I always felt like the guy doing the legwork was always more in danger, always more out there and more capable. So, I wanted to go into some things with Johnny Eli because, obviously, when I want to make this clear to everybody. We're not bragging about what we did, but we try to explain our stories and tell the people what we've been through because it's a part of our life, and I want to get into a particular crime with Johnny Eli, one of his murders. We like to talk about exactly how it happened, how you planned it, the name of the person and where he was killed because it shows facts and truth behind what we've done. So a particular murder that I actually, know of, a man I believe you killed in a bar. You had shot him in his head, I believe.
I shot, well, it depends because I shot a lot of people, obviously. But what I could go through is this. Let me just, for the people that know me or don't know details or don't know exactly what Gene's talking about, I'll tell you about some of the charges I was charged with. And you can ask me about any one of these, I guess. So some of the murders I was charged with the murder of Georgie Grasso that people heard me talk about before, with me shooting him a couple of times in the head. I was charged with the Johnny Gebbett murder, where I ordered guys from prison when I was in prison to hit him the first week I was locked up. I also talked about the Bruce Gotter Up murder that I ordered him and Latin King and Burke.
Also, make it clear to everyone, how many people did you physically kill yourself?
I'm involved in, and I'll get into it today because I'm going to be more specific. I've been involved in about 15 homicides.
Right.
So, people ask me, and that's why I want to get into specifics. Ricky Stratton was the fourth guy that was also killed.
Right.
He died a month after he was shot in the head by me. And one of the guys that went along on that was Larry Cuccarelli, who's dead. He was one of the guys in the car. I'm not going to mention the other guys in the car. They were alive. And obviously they know who was with me in that car. I was involved in a shooting at TT. I shot him in the head who lived. I was involved in a double homicide with Frankie Burke in Brooklyn. Both those guys are dead. I was involved in a double shooting with Angelo Castelli, was actually the shooter, and Joey Danka with me. Frankie Burke shows up later on and meets us. I believe he killed the one guy in that. He's the shooter. I was involved in a shooting with Johnny Gebbett where I'm the driver of 4 Jamaicans. I'm not sure how many guys died on that shooting. He's the shooter, I'm the driver. I'm involved in at least a double homicide on my property when 5 guys came to kill me. Guys that were involved in cleaning up that property made statements. Dino Finelli, one of them. Danny Morrow also made statements was involved somewhere in the murder. These are regular guys that were involved.
And you were going to kill that douchebag Vito Guzzo, right?
I had Vito Guzzo shot by your cousin 6 times. He ends up living.
Right.
I also had shot Mike Lavigny in the chest that people are very aware of. I shot a guy off 75th Street, Jamaica Avenue in the back for robbing my brother. I'm not sure what his status was afterwards. I shot my cousin, Nicky Pasquale. I shot Paul G. I shot a bouncer at the swim club for beating up Johnny Boy Ruggiero. I shot a bouncer with Johnny Boy Ruggiero, drove for me out in the Hamptons for beating up John Koenig's son. I shot at the bulkhead, Sal Noto's brother-in-law, inside the bulkhead for beating up Joe O'Kane and saying he was going to kill him. I shot one of his friends, I believe it was his friend, in the chest outside the bulkhead. I shot 4 guys at Kickers nightclub over unionizing the bouncers, one of them in the stomach, the other guy in the hip and the shoulder, and 2 other guys in the legs. I shot Mike Pipp in Flight 116 and 3 of his friends with a 22 50-shot Ruger rifle with guy Tony was in the car, and Mickey. Mickey was unaware I was going to do the shooting, actually. I don't think Tony actually realized at first. And after the shooting, we went out drinking. I shot one guy for Ralph Ferrante on 80th Street, Mike's Pub in front. Shot 2 guys in front of Mondello's for Michael Catapano. They were baseball batting him. I batted a guy to death in front of Old Brother Inn with 3 guys. He went into a vegetable. I don't know if he's still a vegetable or whatever. It's been 30 years. I stabbed a guy in the neck who lived in Fort Lauderdale in front of everybody in the club. I got pinched right at the scene. I mean, that list can go on. So, you know, when people are talking about workers or somebody's telling me about Tommy Karate or this, I don't give a fuck about anybody, honestly. And the idea of me constantly going by names on this stuff is so people understand. I don't talk in innuendos. I talk specifics. I talk names.
And these ain't guys that, let me just tell you how usually a mob hit goes, where it's your friend killing your friend, and you're sitting in a car, and the guy gets in the car. He doesn't even know he's getting shot in the back of the head. Your crimes are you're hunting the guy down. He might know you're coming. I was in similar situations. It's a real street beef. It's not where, hey, John, let's go take a ride upstate, and all of a sudden you get shot in the back of the head.
No. I mean, I'm involved. Well, you know, listen, guys that know me also know I've been stabbed up a couple of times. Right. I've been battered a couple of times. Guys try to kill me plenty of times. I talk about Fabi and Anthony Tabita and Cookie and these guys a lot because I had such admiration for these guys. Cookie survived a headshot and a shot to the neck. His cousin got killed. So, you know, I try to talk to these kids about legitimate tough guys like these guys that put in work, that got shot themselves, survived, a gentleman, changed their lives, true tough guys. You know, we like each other now. We're friends with each other. We respect each other. And that's part of moving on with your life. They were capable of moving on with their lives like we're moving on with our life. But when people are talking about, you know, this guy didn't do this or this guy didn't do that, it's very important for people out there to know. I'm not these guys that are on radio or TV that are talking nonsense, but never talk specific. They're good storytellers, or they're talking about things that they never did, and they're trying to, I guess, glamorize this to the kids that are on the street.
Right.
And what I want to do is talk about guys like Ray that has a movement that we had on the show of God, religion, doing the right thing, or Christian that was on the show, or other gang members like Chuck, ex-Latin King, that was on the show. I want to talk about positive people that are on the show that I respect. And I'm also want to show guys that will get down guys that we've had on the show because we got a message. The message isn't about all these shootings and killings I did before. And I can go on with more. You know, I baseball batted 3 guys at Princeton Diner. Well, I didn't bat them. I hit them with pipes and with bottles. 3 guys, I was by myself. The 3 guys I batted at the Old Brother Inn by myself. The Krasinowski brothers by myself. Keegan brother after he was abusing Joe O'Kane and his girlfriend, and he came to my house. And it's one of the guys I regret, actually, because Joe O'Kane overall was a coward. He set up his friend Joey Stabile to get killed, and Joe ends up getting killed in Kane prison. He gets stabbed up. He came to testify at that time for Gotti Jr. with a broken jaw because he was warned not to testify for a guy that's ratting. But these are the history of, for people that are out there and want to know. and they can ask any question about any of these shootings I'm talking about, any of these guys I hurt, stabbed up, batted, and the list can keep going on. I batted the Ricky Nicolas' brother-in-law on 79th Street. Actually, Gotti Jr. was with me on that. One of the rare ones where he actually did come and do something. And me and my brother batted and piped the guy off Cooper Road and Route 73 after he jumped out of the car to bat us. And we took the bat off him, and I'm not sure how bad he was. He was left for dead, too. Here's one of the things, and you know, when I was in Brazil, guys, and I didn't get into the guys in Brazil that I stabbed up or killed in the pen. There's guys that we're filming on it, so the guys that were with me from other countries are filming about it now, what I did there. But the thing is, it's for the people that think it's easy to order these things than to do these things, right? And you hear both sides. You know, I planned a lot of these murders, obviously. I didn't, you know, shoot everybody and kill everybody, but on most of them, I'd say 85% of them, I was the guy doing the work. Now, did I order some? Yeah. Did I set them up? Yes. Is it the same thing as the guys that are going there and doing the work? Obviously not. You know, when I'm getting down doing the work, there's a lot of planning, and there's a lot of things to do things correctly if you're on the street, and you know, planning it and sitting at home and smoking my cigar while or sitting in a penitentiary in jail while my cousin hit Gebbit for me isn't the same thing as me, you know, tracking. Let's use Ricky Stratton. So we're going to go into a shooting. And when these guys, by the way, are all four brother-in-laws, whether they're related directly or through another brother-in-law, they're all brother-in-laws. And they plotted on killing me. And obviously, I killed all four of them. Two, I was the shooter. Two of them, I wasn't. There's a big difference of me being the shooter on two than me not being the shooter on two. Now, I have some loyalty. I had a ton of guys that work for me and work with me. So it wasn't easy for me to grab guys. It was very easy for me to grab guys in any state, whether it was in Philadelphia with Ronnie Turch, whose father was a concierge, was a good friend of mine who ends up dead. But I'm going to go into the Ricky Stratton hit. These guys, his brother is, and I hate bringing these stories up because his brother, Michael, was a guy that's 16 years old that went away for murder. He's one of the guys that actually was my childhood friend, later on became on the opposite side of me. And then when I straightened out my life, he was one of the guys that really helped me get my life back together. So this isn't about talking about hitting his brother or anybody else. It's talking about the treachery of that life and the understanding on what we lived. And it's very hard for outsiders to understand. Like when I'm talking about shooting after shooting, I shot a guy, Manny, in Ridgewood after he tried to rob my friend Joe Galliano's factory and shake the father down. So Joe was my driver, and we ran up on him on a full block. The hydrants were running back in those days. Kids, it was a beautiful sunny day, and I unloaded on him. So this is every day for us. This wasn't, one shot. I ran into a guy just last week when we were at dinner in Long Island at Peter Luger's, who discussed another shooting I did in Long Island that I forgot about.
Can't believe that.
So, this is because I did so many, it's not possible to remember every single one crazy. Until somebody brings it back up to you.
Right.
So Ricky Stratton, they plotted they were on Jamaica Avenue up in the park on 102nd Street, him and five guys, and they were all meeting on, plotting on how they're going to hit me. I was tipped by actually one of the guy's brothers that they were loaded up and they were coming down to Jamaica Avenue, try to find me and hit me on the street because I used to do my rounds of collecting. When I found that out, I laid low for 2 days. I put a couple guys together. I waited by an apartment building on Park Lane South, and I think that's Myrtle Avenue where it crosses. And I know where they live, and you have to be patient. I grabbed a couple pistols. I grabbed 3 guys with me. Larry was one of them, and we waited about, 3-4 hours. We sat there, and finally he came out. He jumped in a car, and we tailed him. I told him, make sure you lay a car or two behind him, and which we did. We followed him for a while, and on the Interborough Parkway, the Jackie Robinson Parkway, when I told him make a move on it, it's a very winding road, so right. It's not easy for a car to move quickly on there. I told him get in the left lane, and as soon as we go around this next bend, going towards Eastern Parkway. I want you to cut him off where he can't go anywhere, slow him down, and I'm going to get out and pop him, which I did.
Right.
Pulled alongside him, and I shot him 3-4 times. I hit him in the head, I believe once in the shoulder, I believe the second bullet. And my driver of that car kind of panicked because I wanted him to stop so I could finish and get out. And about a month later, Ricky ends up dying in the hospital. So these are real hits. These are real names. Ricky was a tough guy. He grew up, and we know each other since we're kids. The rest of the guys that I hit one after another, whether I did it directly or had somebody else hit, is part of the work that I was told to put in by John Gotti Sr. Louis DeBona was one of my hits that I was involved with planning and killing. Frankie Geeky, who's Anthony Rouge was involved in killing for putting his hands on
My Aunt Jenny.
your Aunt Jenny, and also pulling a machine gun on Jojo Carrazzo at Butterfingers. So these are the hits that I was ordered to organize and get involved with in killing these guys. So a lot of these hits are hands-on for me. Some of them were me plotting and putting teams together, like I did with Vito Guzzo with your cousin, who ends up getting killed because he didn't finish the job. So when people are talking about shootings and murders and battings and knifings, and I did it all. This was what I did for a living. So when I hear about a name and somebody's impressed by somebody's name or whatever they heard out in the street, it doesn't impress me. This is what I did for a living. Just like I have always said, Mike Tyson got in the ring. He didn't care who he was getting in the ring with. You get in the ring, that's his job, and he goes to business.
You got to explain that, because when we're street guys, we feel like that are hands-on guys. We're capable of what the next man is capable of. So when you talk about a guy that's killing people, I mean, it doesn't take much. If you're in that lifestyle and you're doing those kind of crimes, we don't care how many people he killed or what he did. We could do the same thing. You know what I mean? So that's what we're trying to explain when you glorify some of these people about, oh, well, Tommy Karate was the biggest hitman ever. That is not even close to true. He killed 5 people, and one of them was a harmless woman and walking around with her head. That's not no mafia crimes, man. I mean, so these people got to really reevaluate what you're talking about and saying and glorifying, the things you're glorifying. We could sit here and talk about crimes all day. It doesn't make you, this big, bad macho man. We're trying to explain to people, well, this is what we did, and it's not good. So glorifying a guy that killed a woman and chopped her head off, I mean, I don't see how that's even a mafia hit or anything to do with La Cosa Nostra, if you want to get into those terms. So,
well, when I'm talking about murder, these are real lives we're talking about. Dennis Pittman was a good friend of mine. He worked with me. He's dead. His brother, Kevin Pittman, also in jail with Frankie Burke. He's dead. Frankie Burke, my really good friend, shot in the head 5 times. He's dead. Tito, the guy that shot him, was shot in retribution 10 times. He's dead. Angelo Costelli, my other good friend that was involved in the other shooting with me on 111th Street, he was the shooter. He got killed in front of the White Horse, shot 3 or 4 times in the neck, the back, the head. He's dead. Mikey Merlo got shot with a shotgun in front of the White Horse. He's dead. So my cousin Patsy, the father, he shot in the head twice, in the face, in his apartment. He's dead. These are Fat Angelo. He's dead. So when people are asking me about guys that grew up with me, Stephen Bonner, he's dead. One after another, I could go through these names, and that was the reality of my life. And the reality of my life now is saving some of these kids and talking as really as honest as I can. And I don't like that I watch other people talking about this stuff and never specific. And and I'm asking them to be specific, because I want to see, and I want the public and I want the kids to understand. Follow me, because I'm the one that was really doing this. I was the one really killing and shooting and stabbing and batting, and also getting shot and stabbed up and batted. So just follow me, because I'm keeping it as real as possible with you. And I'm willing to answer any question anybody wants about every one of these homicides. By name I'm talking about, and my location. And on certain instances, I'll bring up who was with me if they're covered with it. If they're not covered with it, I'm not going to bring it up. The reality is, that's what my life was. I was John Gotti, and I'm talking about the father who I respected at one time. I was his guy to do this kind of work. This is what I did day and night. And that list can go on. especially with battens and knivings. And when guys like Ronnie One Arm goes in open court and says, I'm a captain in the Gambino family, but I'm afraid of Johnny Alite. He'll kill me if I'm not nice to him. That just says what it has to. It doesn't have to say more than that. The reality is these guys, they knew better to get in my way. And he says I'm Gotti's drug partner. Actually, I was, but he's got the wrong person. I was the father's drug partner, not the son's. The son was involved with me, but that money that I was handing him went upstairs to the father. I don't know how much he kept. It didn't matter to me. I mean, what I had to do was, and trust me, and anybody that understands the mall world, if I wasn't running around for the father, I would have been killed too. You don't get away with doing everything I was doing and not having his blessings on what I'm doing. So obviously, when I shoot Mike Lavigny in the chest, John knew about it, and I'm talking about the father. He was across the street, actually, for people at the gas station with Bobby the Jew making a phone call when I did that shooting. And he waved at me, said hello, and I took off for Puerto Rico after that. So people that want to know, who I am, what I am, and when I'm talking to these kids, because just 2 days ago, 29-year-old, my friend's son just passed away, another kid. And this is why I'm very serious about what I do and how I talk about, about the locations and who I'm shooting and who I'm stabbing. And when people are challenging me and typing away on computers constantly with me, I lose my temper a little bit. I can't lie to you guys. And then I check my ego and I put it back down. And right. And I know my inner strength is really the real strength, not the stuff I used to do. So, I'm trying to be, to give you young guys a schooling on what's important in life. And hurting and killing guys isn't the important thing. It's the important thing is, and I hope this doesn't get lost, when I bring up Michael Stratton, that's the guy, somebody who has the strength to say the past is the past. John, if you continue in a good way, I forgive you. Just do the right thing for kids. So that's kind of where I stand. And I don't respect a lot of these guys telling stories who are not specific at all, because let them tell them what I did and what I went through, and I'll respect them because I don't care about anybody's title. So anybody that knows me knows I could give a fuck about anybody's title. It doesn't impress me. Not when I was on the street before, not today, not ever. I just, it's like anything else. You want to be that guy, get in the ring. Dylan Danis, guys that know who he is, fighter, is a man's man. And I just wrote something to him the other day about it, and he knows what I wrote him. He's a gentleman, and that's the guys I'm talking about. Positive influences, positive people for children, positive people that are talking about the right thing. Fat Man Scoop. Any of these guys I'm talking about, those are the guys I respect. And then, people say, why you always throwing shout outs to these kind of guys? Because these kind of guys live a good life, they're intelligent, and their message is so positive. Not this negative shit that everybody wants to know about my past, but I guess it's part of it for me to get the message to everybody that wants this message about the street and the reality. Because it's very easy for me to sit here and get 10 young kids to do anything I want, because they'll do anything I want. In any country, by the way. So, I got the power to go to Germany, to Switzerland, to Albania, to London, and I got kids and guys all over the world asking me, you want me to take care of somebody that's got a big mouth that's typing away. And, it's very tempting sometimes, and I always make that pass because I got a different life now. Yeah. My life's to save lives.
Right. And, for the modern time, it's like, and I'll admit it, I was a sucker because, I took care of everybody's dirty work. I thought I was doing the right thing. Whenever somebody needs something done, I would take care of it for them. I mean, I had so many people coming to me to help them with things, crimes, trying to pay me to hurt people. I would do it for free. I could go into things and for days, like he said, I don't know, not into as much as he had, but I had a lot. And I just want to say it's not even worth it at the end of the day. We're trying to show you that, like, you're listening to people talk and they're doing it to make the status. Oh, I was the boss. I was this. You were the boss. You didn't get your hands dirty. We're the guys that were getting our hands dirty. We're the ones that were actually doing the grind work. I was the one sitting on you waiting for you to come out your house for 2 days. I slept in my car one time waiting for a guy to come outside so I could get him. Guys weren't doing that. They were sitting home in their mansions. You know what I mean? So, like I said, was I a sucker? I was. Was I devoted? I was. I would do anything they told me to do. And I took care of everybody's dirty work because if I didn't do it, nobody would do it. you know. So I felt like I had to do it because nobody was getting anything done in my time. In his era, you know, there was a lot of guys that were capable. In my era, there wasn't too many capable guys. So that's all. Like I said, what we're trying to tell you is just we're not trying to glorify what we've done, but we're trying to explain to you, listen to us. It's not worth it. The end story is the same game. So that's all I have.
For this guy that's driving me nuts that writes on YouTube about me wearing glasses, I purposely took them off today, especially because of what I'm talking about. These lights kill me. So whoever you are that you keep writing, you're driving me crazy with the glass thing.
No, wait,
I have epilepsy, so I'm going to put the lights.
He actually said thank you for not wearing them the last time.
Oh, he's driving me
with
crazy.
A guest. He said you don't want us to wear it with a guest.
I don't know why. It's like me telling him what kind of pants to wear.
I wanted to ask you though, real quick. Do you ever use a high-powered weapon and you never used it before? Like, you know, like you jumped to a high-powered weapon and you didn't realize how powerful it was and you messed the whole thing up, the hit, everything. I've done that before.
I mean, listen, for the guys that are out, if you went into I had a cedar closet made and I had a dummy wall and behind it I had 9mm machine guns. I had some homemade silencers. I had, you know, handguns, 32s and 38s. I was big with 32 and 38 revolvers. I had 9mm pistols. I had derringers. I had all kinds of knives. I had, you know, so I had loads of guns. Anybody that knew me, I probably, if you open that closet, I probably had about 20, 25 guns at a time in there. We had a couple of grenades that I kept. I didn't really like keeping the grenades around for a long time because I was worried about a detonate by a fault or something.
No, yeah, that's, you could get them for like $200. But I wouldn't want them.
But
unless you're using it that day.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold it either, you know, because it could go off.
I mean, listen, I used every weapon there was. 3 guys pulled guns on me in 101st Avenue another time. I think Charlie Fisher is very aware of this for guys that don't know who Charlie is. And they pulled a gun on me. I told them I'm sorry after they got back in the car. I pulled around, I made a U-turn, and I smashed their car about, I don't know, 20 times with my car, and I got out and batted them. So anybody that, you know, I could go into the history of violence nonstop, of what all these guys I piped, the other kid on Rockaway Beach that everybody knew about that I really didn't want to do. That Gotti actually forced that with Gene Foster. I really hurt him bad. And he was a young kid at the time. It's, you know, people ask me, what do you regret? That's got to be one of them because it was over nonsense. And it wasn't my call, you know, to hurt him or not hurt him. Guys like Patty Catalano's kid, Jeff, when I destroyed him. I enjoyed hurting because he was another typical my daddy name, you know, calling and telling us who his father was. So I wanted to hurt him at that time. You know, now, you know, obviously I wish I didn't do a lot of this stuff. But so the people that are out there, and I can continue with those, I walked into a bar and Michael Finnerty was testified to that. I think he was a kid at the time, about 16 when I asked him to drive me. I walked in and I put a fisher's knife through a guy's leg. He was a boss of a biker, you know, group in those days. So you know, listen, it was what it was, and the kids that are following now watch some of the stuff I do now about men empowering men, or you know, some of the positive stuff I talk about with inner city kids, because I hate them being pawns for whether it's politics or other guys or other groups. There's so much more to life, and God's there looking down on us and watching what we do. And if you're not overly religious, just remember there's the right thing in life. And I think if you don't believe in God, believe in karma, believe in destiny, believe in you know, things happen for a reason. Right. And one of those reasons is not to suffer in a cage like an animal, like a dog, but to enjoy life. And this show is not about bragging about all this work I did. This is about me shutting up some of these guys that are trying to influence these kids to be like they're following these guys because they're telling good stories. They're good storytellers, or they're, you know, articulate guys that know how to talk. I want people that are listening to actually call them on it. The way you write me, write them. Yeah. And say, be specific, please. Tell me what you did. Tell me the score you did. Because I kicked doors in, and Ronnie Church talked about it in Philadelphia with Jamaican Full House with guns.
I want to hear some of their wild cowboy stories.
Well, you know, I did a score, I told you, with Dave Darpino and another guy. I gave him the only gun I had, and he did everything but shit in his pants. So, you know, I want guys to know about these guys because they tell war stories to other kids that they're just complete fake fraud kids.
but
So, I want everybody to understand, just like it was no surprise Joe King was going to get killed in prison, because really he was just a punk and a weasel. And I want the kids to understand, don't be impressed by this. I says, and be specific when people are telling stories. Tell them you want to know. I want to know where you were standing, what you did, where were you when this was going on. Just like I try to do here, and I leave this very open with everybody. I want to do a monthly call-in, excuse me. We can't do it every week. And you can specifically ask me any question you want, because this isn't about me or my ego. This is about helping kids not to follow this. That's why I did that book, Prison Rules. And people ask me, is that your favorite book? Without a doubt, because I can save somebody's life by reading that. That's what my life's about. It's very easy for me to take lives. You can see what I've done.
Right.
And it's very easy for me to hurt people still and butcher them if I wanted. Even under the surveillance that we have now, I can still do it. And because I don't need nobody else to help me do the work. I don't got to pass a message to somebody who passes it to somebody who passes it to somebody to do that work. I was the guy. I just have a different mentality. And I just want to save one kid. And everybody asks me, what is it with the one kid? Because that one kid can save the next one kid. And he becomes a father of kids, and he can save. And it's like Men Empowering Men. The people that run that organization is, just great individuals that are helping children every day, and young adults and adults. And there's people that reach out to me on a regular basis from around the world, whether they have drug problems or, violent problems or having mental problems. I try to do the right thing and talk to them. So that's really the basis of the show. If somebody loses perspective of what we're doing, that's the perspective, is to do the right thing for the kids.
And also, I got a few messages, and I don't know how people know about this story, but maybe someone from the neighborhood under a fake name, but they keep messaging me saying, "Oh, I heard you had beef with Chris Caniglia, John Caniglia's son." Me and him were good friends. We did have beef. I did pull a gun at him on the park. I did go to pistol whip him. That's true. But we were good friends. It's just that he got messed up with drugs, and I used to actually sell drugs for him. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't tell fake stories. I keep it real. I sold K for him, when I was younger, and he just had a bad drug habit, and he disappeared on us. We had to give him re-up money, and he'd be in hotels smoking crack with hookers. He was just crazy, but he was a funny guy. He was cool actually, and he had told me one time he was gonna leave me dead like my cousin. That was his best friend. So we got into it, whatever. And it's a true story. Yeah, he rolled up on me in the park, and then I pulled a gun out on him, and I abused him at the park. I did, and I went to go crack him with the gun. He ran. That's all true. But like I said, we were good friends. That's in our lifestyle. You'll beef with somebody like that, and you become friends with them again. So yeah, to your question, I'm gonna answer it. We are friends. Not anymore, obviously, but we were good friends. We became enemies, and we were friends again. That happened to me with a lot of people, because, like I said, I fought with everybody. But that is a true story. I did pull a gun out of him in the park. I cocked it. I put it to his face, and he did shit himself. That's true. And everybody was there, everybody. And Ronnie G was actually there and ran after him too. I got to be honest with you. And yeah. And then afterwards, supposedly Charles Caniglia wanted to put me in a drum of acid.
Well, for the people that listen also, Johnny Canig, I have a big respect for. I always liked him. And the people say, well, I thought you don't like gangsters. Here's why I like him. He was a guy that did work, number one. Not a guy who was ordering it. He ordered a lot. He asked me to do a lot of things for him as a young guy. But he was a tough guy, legitimately, street guy. And he was a gentleman. And he was a guy that didn't want to hang around the social clubs playing cards and have a cigar hanging out of his mouth. He thought it was a waste of time. He liked being on boats. He liked to be with his family. He would go to the Hamptons. He would go on boats. He would go on motorcycles. He was a regular guy. This is what I'm getting at. So I liked him and I respected him, and I always looked up to him. And it's just, I feel it's a shame what happened with his brother, but his brother was a complete junkie, not a gangster, shooting heroin, smoking crack, just terrible to his own family. He knows that. Terrible to Kevin McMahon. He knows that. So these are the things, the realities of that life that. But his kids, he has a really nice kid that got into Wall Street area. Johnny was an athlete, a football player, and Johnny raised him right. His daughter was with that piece of shit as a kid, Jimmy Catacamo, who was another weasel, but she got away from him, and she's a nice girl. And then Chris, unfortunately, because they try to be who their fathers are, and they're just not capable. So overall, I think Chris was a good kid. I know him since he's a baby. But that's part of following that life. They lose direction.
He was tough for a while, though.
Well, I'm not saying it because of that.
No,
I'm
but
saying
he was for a
he
little
could have been
while.
like his brother.
He
could have
fell
been.
off.
And because he's lost, he wanted to be like his father.
Yeah, exactly.
And it just doesn't work because, for the kids that don't understand it, you didn't come from where your father did. You came from, a spoiled background, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You came from a spoiled background. Your father gave you something that, we try to give our kids that we didn't have. So, no one's ever going to hear me talk against Johnny, actually. Some people ask me that. Why do you talk highly of him? Well, I just talk highly of the guy because of the qualities he had in him. And he didn't treat anybody like shit. And one of the best qualities he had in him, he hated Gotti Jr. because he seen through him, So, those are some of the things that, I liked about the guy. And, his family were good people. His wife was a good woman.
Of course.
So,
and then you have, I have a lot of friends of mine. Like I think about that were wise guys that we were good friends. Not all of them were bad. You know what I mean? Like I says, I'm not in that lifestyle no more. But there's Mike Padavona. I got along with him real good. Me and him, we were good friends. A lot of them, were all right guys. It's just the fact that we're not in that lifestyle no more. And it is what it is. But like I says, I was good friends with a lot of them. Ronnie G was just a hard guy to deal with because he was a miserable fuck. Other than that, a lot of them were all right. There's some of them that were good, that were decent people, Not all of them are pricks, you know what I mean? Like I said, don't live that lifestyle, but it's like, some of them were good people,
Hey, so for anybody that is watching this show, you can either write in or start calling in. We're going to leave a number where you can call in, leave messages of the questions, your name, and so we know that you're a legitimate person. And we will choose some of the questions. We can't answer them all. We're going to do an hour show on questions. So anything that we talked about today, if you guys want to kick a question out, leave us messages, write a message, and we're going to answer them every month. And I appreciate it. So Johnny Alite officially, johnalite.com, and KCL Automotive in East Stroudsburg, PA, for any kind of automotive needs. We sell cars. We sell without credit, buy here, pay here, inspections, mechanical work, tires, anything that you need. KCL Automotive in East Stroudsburg, 98 Henry Street, East Stroudsburg, PA. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the time.
And also you could reach me at GeneBoy66 on my Instagram. Also, we want you to check out the merchandise we got, man. It's pretty cool. We got mugs, we got T-shirts, we got everything. We've been selling actually a lot of merchandise, and it's really cool stuff. So thank you. Check it out.
See everybody. Anybody needs anything, any help psychologically, if you're going through some things, if you're in prison, out of prison, fighting a case, get in touch, right? And one-on-one, we keep it to ourselves and we don't divulge what you talk to us about. And we'll try to help you best we can. Same with the parents out there having trouble with their kids. You can reach us and talk to us directly. Email me at my email, and it's on my website. And we can try to help you get through whatever you're going through as a family or as an individual. Thanks a lot, everybody.